Hello guys, welcome back to my channel Accountancy. Here we are to continue with the topic of accounting equation. In the accounting equation, we have asset is equals to liability plus capital, which is based on the dual concept which says that in a business debit should always be is equals to the credit, and for making debit is equals to credit we have assets on the debit side and credit shows liabilities and capitals here. So whatever in the business is coming, that is the asset, and there must be some investor, either liability or capital, that is the owner himself. In this given question, Akhil started business with cash balance 80,000 and bank balance of rupees 40,000. So debit what comes into the business, cash is of rupees 80,000 and bank balance of 40,000. But owner has not taken this as a credit from somebody else, so there is no liability in the business. Rather, the owner himself has invested a rupees of 1,20,000 in two formats. One is cash balance and second is bank balance. So the total after first transaction is 1,20,000 equates with 1,20,000. So debit is equals to the credit. Now the second part of the transaction is rent paid rupees 10,000 by cash and rent paid is rupees 6,000 by check. Out of the business, rupees 10,000 is going from the cash balance and 6,000 from the bank balance. Credit what goes out with the rent payment of rupees total 16,000. Your cash balance is also reducing and bank balance is also reducing. Both total amount of rupees 16,000 is not paid to any of the creditors. Rather, 16,000 is leading to reduction in the value of capital. Whatever owner have invested in the business, whenever there is an expense, that reduces the capital of the owner in the business. So capital of the owner is deducted with the fullest amount of 16,000. Now see, on the debit we have deducted total 16, on the credit also total 16. So debit and credit both are again equating. Whenever there is an expense, if it is paid, it goes from the cash or bank balance, and another way it will go from the capital. Now third case, when he says rent was due but not paid, that means the rent was the expense of the business which must be paid. But actually they have not paid it. Akhil have not made payment for this. So 4,000 which was an expense should be deducted from cash, but nothing have been paid, sorry, should be deducted from capital, but nothing have been paid, so nothing is deductible from cash, nothing is deductible from bank balance, but somebody is there to whom we have still to make the payment of the rent. That would become the liability of the business. So there is no change in creditors, but there is outstanding rent of rupees 4,000. So when the rent is your expense, always deductible from capital. If it is paid, it would reduce your cash or bank balance. If it is not paid, then it would become your liability as outstanding rent here. Fine. So here 4,000 added and deducted both on the liability credit side. That's why the total of the equation would remain same. Now fourth part, where it says prepaid rent is of rupees 2,000. Now rent have already been paid, but that is prepaid to the extent of rupees 2,000. So rent is paid means cash balance is reducing. Question is silent. Ki how rent is paid? We will assume that cash is paid. Here rent is paid with rupees 2,000. Now the question arises, the rent was not expense of the business. If it is of the same month, expenses are those that belongs to the same month or same year, that would be the expense. which is belonging to the next year, that would become as a prepaid. Whenever you make any of the payment prior it becomes due, it becomes your asset. So prepaid rent will appear as an asset in your business accounting equation. So rent was prepaid to the extent of rupees 2000 here. Take an example. When your parents make a payment of your fees for a quarter, okay, let's say they are making payment in July for till it would be September, July, August, and September made up a quarter here. July month, when they are making a payment of fees, the July month fees would be expense, but August and September paid fees would be prepaid fees, which becomes asset to the owner of the business. So here prepaid rent is your asset, no change in creditors, no change in outstanding rent, and no change in the capital of the business. So what happens over here at the end of the flow transaction, this balance would become with 68,000, 80,000 minus 10,000 minus 2,000, 40,000 minus 6,000 would give you 34,000. Here 2,000 rupees is for your prepaid rent. So what is the total here? That is rupees 1,04,000 goes here. And another side, creditors were 0, 4,000 was the amount of your outstanding rent. Now the capital, you can see 120 minus 20,000 gives you 1 lakh. So here 1 lakh 4,000 is equating with your 1 lakh 4,000 on the debit side. My both side total is equal. That means my accounting equation is right. So here we end up with the concept of outstanding and prepaid, continuing with the similar format in the next class. Thanks for the day. Kindly like, subscribe and share. Thank you. Accountitude keeps scoring.